Live from MMA Fighting Studios, this is Between the Links. And now, your host, Mike Heck.
The iconic voice of Esther Lynn welcomes you to a brand new edition of BTL. Happy Thursday to us all. Great to be back. And there is so much going on right now. It's unbelievable. Normally, this would be, we bring on a couple of guests. We have them banter back and forth about what just happened at the recent pay-per-view. But UFC 315 had so many storylines coming out of it. And what has transpired since UFC 315, it feels like none of that even matters in the news cycle right now. It's absolutely insane. We got titles being vacated. We have new main events announced. We have so much going on, and it's great to be here to get your thoughts and your reactions and your questions answered in regards to this big news. And joining me to answer your questions, the baddest stash in all of MMA. This is going to be like a giant episode of the People's Pre-Fight Show right here. The chair swinging fool himself, a man who I got to see in person for the first time this week since joining the MMA fighting staff, the one and only Casey Leiden. Where is he?
Hey.
There he is. Hey.
It's good to be here. Good to,
Yeah.
doing great. Doing great. Yeah. Travel was smooth. Got to visit H-Town, see some friends, see some Derek Lewis. Saw UFC veteran Mike Jackson in person. Man,
yes.
Great week. And then, the whole UFC 10,000 fight announcement. So that thing right when I got back.
Yeah. I'm glad travel went smooth for you. It did coming home. The way out, not so much. That's a story for another day, but Houston was fun. I feel like I spent no time in Houston before I had to turn right back around and fly home, but it is what it is. Looking forward to you all getting to check out Swing Rounds episode 2 with Derek freaking Lewis. It was, all I'll say is it's everything you would probably hope it could be. And I'll leave it at that. But if you guys got questions about it, I'll answer what I can. Mostly those will be super chat type of questions. But yes, it is your show. So much has happened. And I haven't had a chance to really talk about any of this stuff because of the travel and everything that has happened this week. So let's go. Bring it on, people.
All right. Let's see what we got here. So many questions. Where do I start?
Are there really?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go with the one fight that we didn't get.
Were Mike and Casey expecting Jon Jones versus Tommy Aspinall to be a part of the info dump on Tuesday night? No. Are you kidding me? That would have knocked me on my ass if that got announced. And even then, Casey, I still wouldn't have believed it. Still wouldn't have believed it until I am literally at the point until I see both those guys that are on fight week, doing media day, doing a press conference, doing the weigh-ins, and they both walk to the octagon and Buffer introduces them. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Let's go. And they start walking towards each other. At that point, and in that point alone, will I believe that Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall is happening, but not a minute sooner.
Yeah. And even if they just announced it, like maybe like for a fight like this, like that, it deserves like one of those like 3-city world tours for a press conference, like like LA, Vegas, New York, London, like that's a fight that big. You don't just this isn't like just an Instagram announcement type of fight, like hey, we're gonna have a big fight, No, I would have been, this fight's not happening though. I might as well be wishing for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler again. Something like that. I feel like we're doing that whole thing again. But no, not surprised at all, Mr. Boza.
Unless they pay John, and I've been saying it from the beginning. People are saying it's 30 million. I think it's 50. I think it's 50 million. The UFC offers Jon Jones 50 million. He'll fight Tom Aspinall. At this point in his career, like, I don't blame him for that either, by the way. But it's going to be an astronomical number that Jon is going to have to agree to. And even Tom said, because even Tom's sick of talking about it. He's like, look, just book the fight or let me fight somebody else. Like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I'm tired of talking about it. I think Jon wants more money. And the UFC, and as we know, the UFC is not going to give Jon the money he wants because they don't need to. This fight does not need to happen for the UFC to be successful. It really doesn't. They're in such a crazy position. Like Derek Lewis, great guy, great golfer too.
Great golfer.
But he's headlining a UFC fight card in the summer with Taliesin Teixeira in Nashville. Like that's is the main event for UFC.
Oh, that's
Nashville.
the main event?
That's the main event.
I didn't know that was the main event.
I didn't realize it was the main event either until we kind of like dug into it. But that is the main event of that card, which Derek told me in person, which is the reason why it passed the Golden Rule test. He didn't tell me it was the main event because I actually didn't even think it.
I didn't assume. I just didn't assume. I just assumed it wasn't. Yeah.
But Taliesin Teixeira in his second UFC fight is getting a main event. They will break records. They will break the Nashville gate record. They will break the North American Fight Night gate record, which is why they don't need to pay Jon $20 million, $30 million, $50 million. They don't need to pay Jon anything. That fight does not need to happen. Dana can keep saying forever, just to stay in the news cycle, we're going to make this fight happen. I don't think they are. I just don't see it coming. And if they do, it's because they're like, all right, Jon, here's 30, 40, 50 million.
The only way UFC books this fight, Jones Aspinall, for whatever amount of money, is out of pure shame. That's all. Because we can shame them and say, look, UFC, you are now boxing. Everything you said, boxing doesn't make the big fights, blah, blah, blah. You are now boxing. And so unless they're shamed into it, but their investors, the shareholders, they don't care. Their stocks are going up. You know, it's a publicly traded company now, so it doesn't matter to them.
Who's going to shame them? Like,
that's
seriously,
what I'm saying.
Who's going to shame them?
Well,
The only way this happens is if fans just stop buying tickets. That's literally it.
That's the only way.
It's not even pay-per-views. It's not pay-per-view. It's nothing. Fans just need to stop buying tickets. If they stop buying tickets, and instead of doing like a 16,000 person crowd, they're doing 8,000, and they're not breaking all the gate records, and they're scrambling to sell the last 5,000 tickets. If they're in like AEW position, then they can be shamed into it, but there's no one to shame them. Like the media can talk about it. Dana don't care. And the people's voices in the, I guess, media space or the promotion space are the social media influencers that they've basically banked all of their media stuff onto. If they're not going to shame, you think Aiden Ross is going to go on a live stream and be like, Dana, why are we not shame on you for not booking Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall? You think the Full Send guys are going to say that? Hell no. Yeah, you think the Nelk boys are going to call Dana out? No, of course not. No,
take your $50,000 gift bag you gave me and book that fight. No.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. I mean, they are partners with the UFC, so I don't expect them to. But that's all. Neon ain't going to do it. Hey Dana, no.
I got. When I brought up the Conor versus Michael Chandler, we made fun of Chandler a lot in the sense like, dude, Chandler's losing like 2 years of his not prime, but UFC run waiting for Conor. How long is Aspinall in that boat yet? Where like, dude, you're just wasting time now. You're just losing prime years. At some point, Aspinall he has to take another fight.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Like, are we past that point, or are we still in that little gray area where like
we're close because he at least fought. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Chandler waited for Conor and didn't fight until the ship had sailed. They booked it. They were 3 weeks away from the fight happening, and then Conor was out. Then it was just like, okay, now I have to move on. Tom at least got to fight somebody, so it's not like he won the belt at MSG and then waited a year, watched Jon beat Stipe in a fight literally nobody wanted, and then still hasn't fought since. He at least got to get a title defense in. But now we're at the point now where, and Jed and I both brought this scenario up in different circumstances. This is Dana trying to get Khabib back after he said he was done after the Gaethje fight. This is what this has become. Like, we all know at this point that the fight's not happening, but Dana's going to keep saying that it is, and then eventually it's going to be like, yeah, it's not happening. So let's just move on. Let Tom become the actual undisputed heavyweight champion. Let him fight Gane or Almeida. I don't give a shit. Just let him fight somebody, we got to keep this guy going because he's losing steam with every day he doesn't fight or doesn't have a fight booked. And I don't know about you. I'm tired of hearing Tom being asked about it too. Like you can see he's just sick of talking about it. Like, let's just move on, do something else. And then if Jon wants to come back, he could fight for the belt. Like, who cares? But for now, we got to move this division along. And that's that.
All right. And we are moving to the next question. Slito.
You better call the H-Town episode Swang Rounds. It's so fun.
Don't worry, Slito. We got you. Thank you, Slito.
Nick, using super chats to spread the news, Habib came up with the nickname Canelo Hands for Belal. News is in, I made it up. Confirmed. Nick VCC made up that rumor. So thank you. Tanvir, thank you. With UFC having a star power issue, does JDM being champion help or hurt? He's soft-spoken, with little personality, and actually has a lower social media following than Belal. Interesting. Probably.
What he's saying
it helps
is true
to some degree.
I mean,
yeah.
From a business perspective, did UFC want Belal or JDM? Is JDM a better champion for business wise?
Probably. Because it is.
I know the answer is it doesn't matter because UFC wins all the time, but
yeah.
But do they make?
But we don't get Islam trying to fight for the welterweight belt without JDM winning this fight. He's not fighting Belal. That fight would never happen. So I guess from a business sense, yes, it helps because that fight's going to do very well on pay-per-view. It's just gonna, plain and simple. And Belal not fighting, and if Belal had won, would he have turned around and fought in August on the DDP Khamzat card, or was that sort of up in the air too? Like, because I know there were people saying that it was booked for 2 dates, right? So if Belal had won, would they have done Belal versus Shafkat or Belal versus Gary in August in Chicago, and then DDP Khamzat would have been on a different date? Would they have pushed that to September? What would have happened there? Like, there's all these moving. When Dana says there's a lot of moving parts, he's right. Because like all the people that I talked to were just like, we're talking about this, maybe this, all this. It was just but so much depended on the result of that main event on Saturday. What's Islam going to do? What's the International Fight Week main event going to be? What's going to headline Chicago? Is it DDP Khamzat? When are they fighting? It just appears that because if Belal had won, there's like the dude had to fight in Chicago. Like they'd be absolutely insane to not have him there. It's the one place Belal would look like a big star. He would in Abu Dhabi as well. He's over in that neck of the woods, but at least in the United States, there's only one place you could put Belal where he looks like a star, and it's in Chicago. It's where he's from. People would support him. They love supporting their own. So I'll say it helped slightly, but not because of like personality and stuff. But yeah. I will say JDM did a terrific job saying very little, but making me much more interested in that Belal fight. Especially, again, and I brought this up a bunch, the final face-off at ceremonial weigh-ins was like, okay, I'm so in for this fight. That was it. That put me over the edge. It got to like, ooh, this is intriguing too. I can't friggin' wait for this fight. So, yeah,
I don't find JDM boring as a personality. I feel he's just to the point, and he has that very dry sense of humor. Yeah.
JDM passes the test. Like I know people hate when we bring up pro wrestling, but like back in the day with pro wrestling, like when you had like a heel or a bad guy, if you like the whole goal of like the old territory promoters was we want to present heels that come out and look real, that look like, all right, I don't want to go near this guy because he'll beat the shit out of me and 8 of my friends. Like that's how scary this person is. And Belal is a great fighter, And I'm glad he's getting some shine after this performance. But if you just sort of walked into a bar and you saw Belal standing on one side of the bar and you saw JDM standing on the other side of the bar, who would you go F with first? Probably Belal, because JDM looks like he passes the fighter test. Like, dude's face is mangled. His nose is on one side. He's got scar tissue everywhere. Like, JDM looks like a dude that is a professional fighter. Like, he passes that test in a lot of respects, and dude is just game as hell, and Belal is too. But JDM just passed. JDM is interesting in different ways than Belal is, if that makes sense. Like, Belal could talk a little more, even though some of the stuff is ridiculous and cringy. And JDM can just sort of sell himself as a fighter by saying very little and just with a look, because he looks like a freaking badass. So it's different, but JDM winning creates chaos, and at least chaos for the short term sells a lot for the UFC. So if I'm the UFC, especially with how abysmal this start of the year has been for them overall, this is probably the best case scenario for them, because chaos ensued. Yeah. Now you get a bunch of big fights over the next few months.
Yeah, and it was and he won, and it was a great fight, a great competitive fight,
incredible fight
too. So, man, I mean, we may talk about this later, but like, I haven't rewatched the whole fight, but I've kind of seen little snippets more of the 315 main event. And man, 315, the main event, I think it was a lot better than I thought it was. Like, I was watching it, I was just kind of focused on it. But now that I'm kind of going back in my mind and just seeing clips, like, that fight was really good on both sides, really good. And yeah, we'll talk more later. But like, yeah, I was just a few days after the fight, I let it soak in a little more. I'm like, man, I really like that fight a lot. So
it's so good. Yeah, when you actually like sit down and rewatch it with no distractions, it is way better than you thought it was.
And no distractions in the sense of no, like, the previous baggage each fighter kind of comes with, or you're thinking about what fight is this going to build up to. It's just the fight itself. Just boom, right there. Those 25 minutes in there. Unbelievable high level mixed martial arts. And I think
it's incredible.
I don't think there was enough appreciation the night of that, because we're always kind of focused on the next story, but that's all. I just really fun. In the sense that I think coming into that fight, we kind of said, oh, if Belal loses, he'll never get another title shot, which I believed. But I think that performance was so good. I think there is a chance that Belal can come back in relatively, fair amount of fights, get another shot at the title. Not one of I have to win 30 in a row type of thing. Thank you, Tamper. Chase, super chat from Chase.
How bad of a situation would it be if Jon retires and Tom loses his next fight to God? This entire situation seemingly more worse in the coming months. It's true. It's definitely true. Jon could sit back and just kind of wait and see if Tom loses, and then he could be like, see, told you. But our old friend New York Rick actually tweeted something about Islam Makhachev that's like that maybe that I was thinking of as I'm seeing this. Let me read this. Quote, Islam Makhachev is in a fantastic position right now, challenging for the welterweight title, and if Ilia Topuria wins at UFC 317, he's now got an even bigger fight potentially lined up. If Topuria loses, he could rub his face in it, claiming he was going to steamroll him anyway. Needs to get his work done against JDM. No easy task, but he's in a great spot. Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the same, but Jon could just chill, and if Tom loses, he could be like, ha, told you so, eat shit, and just rub everybody's face and be like, see, I told you so. Now I'm going to go fight Alex Pereira and retire and still make $20 million bucks. So it could get bad.
And I do agree. Islam is in a great position. Yeah. Terrific position. Thank you, Chase. Super chat from our wonderful friend, Spencer. Oops.
Howdy, boys. After the next 2 weeks, there isn't one UFC Apex scheduled till August, which we have the main event for that one, by the way. You think UFC is having more traveling events with more stack cards due to the current rights deal? No. This is pretty typical for the UFC. They load up like the summer months with more fight nights and and stuff of that nature. But they'll make up for on the back end. You just wait till like the fall. We're gonna be in the apex like 60% of the time. That's how this works. So, but we usually get right around the summertime. I haven't gone back and like re-looked at everything, but from what my brain tells me is that once we get to June, we're kind of out of the apex for a hot minute. Maybe we get like one event mixed in there, but they do a lot of traveling. There's months with multiple pay-per-views and stuff. So,
well, through the summer, there's no hockey and there's no basketball. So all those arenas, there's much more availability for the UFC too, in terms of those type of.
Especially July and August, yeah.
Yeah, there's no basketball, no hockey. So a lot more weekends are available. A lot more Saturday nights are available that are open for the UFC to come to those mid-sized markets like the Nashvilles and things like that. So I think that a lot of that goes into it too.
Plus the UFC, like I said, the UFC is getting site fees from most of these places too,
and that too. Yeah.
So that's more money for them. It's just so much more money.
All right. What was that question? Yeah, let's talk about this. The maybe one of the biggest stories that haven't been talked about because of all the news.
I was hoping this would come so I can kind of clear things up here. Patchy looking like he's coming to UFC and potentially stepping in. Thoughts, and how do you think he'll do with UFC competition, which many times these highly regarded outside fighters do fall short. So, yes,
and
big
many
news.
Times many times they do great too. So
it's true. So buried. I mean, PFL just brilliantly doing this by the way, just buries it in the midst of all this news. That Patchy Mix and PFL have mutually agreed to part ways, end the relationship. I've obviously talked to some folks. Patchy is free and clear. This is no matching rights thing. If Patchy wanted to sign with the UFC today, he could. He could absolutely do that. And I've been seeing reports already. We confirmed yesterday, multiple sources, that Marlon Vera is out of his UFC 316 matchup with Mario Batista. Undisclosed reasons as to why. I assume it's some kind of injury, but no one's really giving specifics. Since then, there have been reports that have come out that Patchy Mix is stepping in and he is fighting Mario Batista in Newark on that card, which would make a ton of sense. Here's what I can tell you right now, because again, the golden rule, it is not on MMAfighting.com. Terrific website. Nothing's going up there unless we fully confirm it or it is announced by the promotion. And even then, we still kind of dig and confirm because the UFC isn't always 100% accurate with this stuff. Is Patchy Mix being discussed to fight Mario Batista at UFC 316? Yes. Are the conversations ongoing? Yes. Is it done? No, it is not done. So nothing is done yet. Now, and here's a big reason why. If I am Mario Batista, I am getting a pay raise to take this fight on short notice. Like, I am negotiating, be like, cool, I'll be happy to welcome in this guy that hardcore fans know, but the casual UFC audience has no idea who this guy is, and he's very, very good. So I would like to negotiate my contract for this fight and make a few extra bucks. Now, I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying if I'm Mario Batista and his team, this is how I would approach this. Am I saying that this fight is not going to happen? No, I'm not saying that. Would I be shocked if it doesn't? Probably at this moment. But it's too early to report that this is a done deal. And this is talking to multiple people who would know the answer to these questions. So, that'd be a damn good fight to come into, Casey. Mario Batista is not everybody's favorite bantamweight right now, especially with the Jose Aldo stuff. And if Patchy went out there against a guy that not a lot of fans love right now and just nuked him on pay-per-view, it's a damn good introduction to the UFC, is it not?
When's the date of that?
June 7th, I believe.
June 7th? Okay. So,
it's like 3 weeks.
Okay. So assuming Patchy has been kind of generally training, which I assume he has, I'm gonna take the short notice part out of it for Patchy. It's a great, it's actually kind of a perfect introduction to Patchy to the UFC. Honestly, I think this is like lined up very well for him. I'm sure now it's just talking about money, and UFC wants Patchy cheap. Patchy wants to make some Patchy. He's a prize fighter, so they have to work that out and hope he gets a good deal. But yeah, this is I couldn't really lay it out better for Patchy, honestly. To a relatively short notice fight, but on a pay-per-view against a not fan favorite. So
Yeah.
this could work out really well. Because I think when Eddie out when
win for him.
yeah, and of course must win, but yeah, must win. But if he doesn't, yeah, it sucks obviously, and Patchy's overrated, whatever. If he loses, yeah, I'll be shocked if he loses, but I have Patchy ranked very high in my rankings. But if he loses, I'll be like, dang, I guess I was wrong. But yeah, I hope it happens. Hope it happens. It makes a lot of sense. I can't actually think of any outside of the money issues. I can't think of a reason why Patchy wouldn't want this fight.
Oh, Patchy's got really no power here, unfortunately.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and the UFC knows it too. Like if
that's
if Patchy wants to fight in the UFC, like you kind of have to take the fight. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to do it. You know what I mean? Like again, Patchy's a great fighter, but the audience that the UFC is catering to right now has no idea who Patchy Mix is. Yeah. They don't know. They don't care. They will care if he goes out and fights Mario and just annihilates him, like knocks him out, flying knee, something big. Just impressive performance where they could post this finish everywhere. And it's like, oh, who's this guy? That's what they're kind of looking for. But yeah, I think we get questions answered now. And this is good for PFL too, because you know how PFL operates. If Patchy Mix goes up and fights for the freaking bantamweight title, they're going to take full credit for it. Even though he's had one in their actual promotion.
But they should. That's how you do it. That's what you do. You go, So
They do it with Kayla. Like Kayla's this massive favorite against Juliana Pena. You're like, see, she wasn't this big of a favorite when she fought our girls in our organization. It's the best. It's absolutely the best. But this is a good move for PFL. It's a good move.
Oh, it was one of their best PR moves they've ever done. Like the timing was perfect too. Like I was like, I don't. It was good. It was good. Good move. And then Patchy was good too, in the sense that he sold PFL. I saw his Instagram post. Very, very gracious toward PFL and everything. Good. Didn't burn bridges. Just smart business.
100%. Yeah. This is buyer's remorse if there ever was. The whole Bellator thing, I think they're regretting every single thing about this. I think this was more than they figured it would be. But I guess the good thing is, although their PR has been absolute dog shit this year, it's been such a bad look for them. Like just looking from the outside in on social media, if you're just following along in that sense. But I think now, Casey, they have identified who they are and who they are going to be. And that is look, we're going to try to grow the sport in different regions. We're going to try to create our own stars in different parts of the country. Sure, our ratings are going to be bad, and we're not going to have like a ton of big stars. We might get a couple. And the Paul Hughes, the Kota Ditchevas, which is all great. We need to home grow our own talent and just give each major region of the country or of the world something to be excited about. Let's draw a few gates because they ain't drawing them in the United States. And I think they know that at this point. But I think they're figuring out who they are, and it's going to take a very long time. I mean, 5 years at least before they can become not even competition for the UFC, because I don't even think they will be, but at least people will finally see what they're
alternative.
Yeah.
Not really competition, alternative.
Yeah. The tournaments, you put on a couple of big cards, you do the big regional shows and stuff like that. And I know most people right now are like, oh, who cares? We want to see this, this, and this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But now the stink from the Bellator deal is just right there. Like you can't avoid it. You open your door and you smell the stink of that deal. Johnny Eblin's still there and he'll still fight. And there's still some obviously decent fights you can make. But for the most part, this has been a disaster. It's just been a disaster.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but PFL needs to be like KSW and Ryzen in the sense that they're not competition to the UFC. They're just alternatives for that part of the world.
Yep.
Like Ryzen's, I love Ryzen as a promotion. I love Ryzen. They're stable. I get it. They're not as good as UFC. No one's gonna top the UFC's roster, but Ryzen's his own thing, and so they're not competition to the UFC. They're just they're their thing. PFL needs the whole co-leader. That was like the most biggest mistake they've ever said. Just be your own thing. Yeah, BKFC 100%. Is not competition. They're their own thing. That's what PFL has to get somehow.
Yep.
Do you answer? How do you think your UFC competition? Oh, we'll find out. Sorry, second part of the question. We'll see. And you know what? Even if Patchy loses, it's fine. It sucks. Obviously, it's a big blow to him. Eddie Alvarez lost when he came to the UFC. He won the belt. RDR. He didn't lose, but he didn't look good in his first fight. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Some more super chats. Rick Wynn.
Any chance of heck of a morning again, even if it's once a week and short? I miss so much you guys beyond rock. We'll see.
You get this a lot, Mike. A lot of.
We'll see.
Funny.
We'll see.
All right.
But there's a lot. Trust me, there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now that we're trying to get off the ground. We want swing rounds to be a thing more and more. There's other things I'm working on as well that I think could be really fun and different that nobody else is doing. So, yeah, we'll see. If I'm told, hey, we got enough people, we have enough time, go do heck of a morning, I'll do it. But just don't have that right now. A lot of irons in the fire. It's all good.
All right. Okay, let's talk about this.
What do you guys make of the Ilia Islam trash talk today? It's terrible. It's so bad.
On both sides or one side?
But kind of both.
I say both.
Kind of both. Like, let me pull up this tweet because like my first thought was exactly what I have a lot of respect for Chuck Mindenhall. I like to do a lot. I love this tweet from Chuck Mindenhall.
Okay, go ahead.
This my first thought was this. Now that this fight has been botched, it should be illegal for them to talk smack at each other for at least a year. Call it a quote unquote blue balls moratorium or something. I completely agree. But here's the problem. Everyone's going to ask both fighters about the other in every single interview, every single thing. Be that one guy who doesn't ask them about it. Because this is what we're going to get. We're going to get Ilia saying some stuff. We're going to get that reporter tweeting out everything, getting it out to as much people as he can. Hopefully that it gets aggregated and picked up by multiple websites. Ali is going to tweet for Islam a whole bunch of nonsense, more than likely. And then Ilia is going to respond back with his silliness. Like, you both got other things to worry about. You know what I mean? And then, like, after you guys fight, if you both win, then we can start talking about that again. But that was my whole thing, is just, this fight ain't happening, man. So, like, let's just stop talking about it. Islam's not a hypocrite. Islam also hasn't cleaned out the entire division. So that was, like, the one thing Islam said in his response was like, hey, I at least cleaned out the division, and you haven't. But yet he knocked out the two of the three best fighters that ever fought in his division. And Islam, and again, it's not his fault. Mm-hmm. His title defense, he beat Charles Oliveira for the vacant belt. He fought Dustin Poirier, which was not the number one contender. He's far from it. Then I'm trying to remember like all the dudes. Hold on, let me pull it up. I have the fog brain. All right, here we go. Yeah. Then he fights Volkanovski, which, by the way, was brilliant. Like, the whole thing about that was brilliant. Habib getting in there and calling out Volk, doing the face-off, was absolutely perfect. Like, I have no issues with it. The divisions were kind of in a weird spot. Yeah. It was a big fight.
In the moment, nobody was complaining about that fight.
No,
nobody was complaining about. Yeah,
it was great. Then he was going to fight Oliveira again. I didn't love it because I felt like it was going to be like the first fight. We get the short notice Volk fight. Again, that's not Islam's fault, but here we are, and he killed him. Then it's the Poirier fight, which is a great fight. Very fun. Poirier was not the number one contender. And then Sarukian was the number one contender. And again, not Islam's fault. Sarukian doesn't make it to the fight. Kind of screwed himself, if we're being honest. Moicano steps in on a day's notice, and Islam runs him over the way everybody expected him to. None of this is his fault.
Yeah.
But to say that you've run through this entire division is just not true. Like, you haven't fought Justin Gaethje yet. He hasn't fought Max Holloway yet. Not saying that Max should get it.
Justin's coming off a win now over Fiziev, right?
Yeah, he's won 3 out of his last 4.
Okay. Just a knockout to Holloway. Okay, just
a knockout to Holloway. He hasn't fought Armin yet. Like, you just haven't cleaned out the division. And look who's coming. Paddy Pimblett's coming. You got Dawson and Alvarez and, like, all these great 55ers that are on the way up. Dan Hooker's making his way back up the ranks. Like, lightweight's the best division in the sport. You can never say that I've cleaned out the division at lightweight with it because it's lightweight. You never clean out that division because there's always dudes coming. So that was the one issue I had with what Islam had to say, is that I cleaned out the division. Everything else I'm fine with. Like, whatever.
Has Ilia said the same thing? I cleaned up my division? Did he say? They were saying the same thing, right? Essentially.
Ilia said, no, Ilia's thing was, he called him a hypocrite because you gave me shit for moving up and trying to challenge myself, but yet you didn't give me the fight I asked for. You instead did the exact same thing that I did. And it's okay for you to do it, but it's not okay for me to do it. That was the whole thing.
So Ilia is actually approving of what Islam's doing? He's like, oh, I get it.
He's like, why are you giving me shit because Islam, he's saying that Islam, he's giving Islam shit because Islam was like, dude, just win one fight and then I'll give you a title shot. Like, if you're moving up, cool. Like, I'll fight you, but just like win once. And then he, instead of like him honoring that or whatever, Islam's like, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to move up to welterweight and fight for a belt. I'm going to vacate my belt, go up to welterweight, and I'll go fight for the belt without winning a fight myself at 170. You know what I mean? So he's just like, you told me to do this, and yet you're not doing it. Well, so that's why he's calling him a hypocrite.
All Islam has to do is, all Islam has to say is like, I'm going to win my belt at 170. You win your fight. Then I'll come back down and take your belt. There we go. Everything's settled.
Yeah. All Islam had to tweet out was, just go back to the 80s, man. I know you are, but what am I? And that's it. You win. You win. Conversation over. Infinity. Beat it. Yeah. It's bad. It's all bad.
I just don't like it. It's just like, dude, it's like you guys are the best of the best. Like this is dumb. I don't know. We don't need it. Like, I don't just
win your fights, then talk all the shit you want. Let's build up this incredible. Who knows? Maybe Ilia just goes right up to 170 and fights Islam if Islam beats Jack. Like, that's crazy.
But the UFC, I don't know. UFC likes money, so maybe, who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
Absolutely.
What's more likely? If Islam wins and Ilia wins, is it more likely Islam comes back down or Topuria goes all the way to 70?
Topuria goes 70.
What would you like? I would like Islam to come back down to 55, just because I don't know. It's just that'd be just because how long?
Here's what I would like. I would like whoever makes the decision to vacate their belt, and then I'm okay with it. Then I'm fine with it. I'm actually surprised Islam is vacating, which I don't think is a vacation.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like, dude, if you're gonna do this, like, you gotta get rid of your belt. Like, we're not holding this division up. It's the best division we have. We can't do it. And if you lose, sure, you come back, you get an immediate title shot, but you cannot do this as the champion. And respect to all involved, because this is how it should be. You will never, ever get any argument from me about a guy going for a second belt if they vacate their actual title, because now they're risking something. They've given up. I'm so confident that I'm going to do this that I'm giving up my other belt. There's no fallback plan. I mean, there kind of is, but at least, like, we could do other shit. We can have a vacant title fight. If Ilia wins, like, we could do Ilia versus Patty at the end of the year. Like, that's a big friggin' fight if he wants to stay at 55 and start running off a bunch of defenses. Like, Patty's got to be pretty happy about all this. If Ilia beats Charles, Patty's probably getting a title shot, which is wild. Absolutely insane.
Unranked Patty Pimblick. No, yeah.
How are you gonna feel about that, Casey?
Unranked Patty Pimblick getting a title shot. Dude, what PFL? Please release Shabley. Please release Shabley, so I can just have him fight a UFC fighter, so we can justify any sort of ranking that someone may have for him.
Did you see? I don't know if you saw this on Reddit. So there's reports out there that Tofik Basayev might have signed with the UFC.
That's awesome. He's so good. He's just.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten. I've reached out and gotten nothing back about it, but there's rumor and innuendo that Tofik Basayev might debut at UFC Baku against Miktabek Oralbai, which would be sick.
That's a violent fight.
I have not gotten any. I have not gotten any confirmation on this. So I don't know.
Basaev's one of those guys. Like, I don't expect to fight for a title, but he might crack the top 10. But he's just an exciting, just crazy looking dude. So
yeah,
hope that happens.
Fit right in.
Yep,
fit right in.
Thank you, Juzio. Another super chat coming in from Michael Harris, $9.99. Thank you.
Sweet. Prediction: if UFC gets a deal with Netflix, it will only be for huge fights like MSG, Mexican Independence Day, International Fight Week. WWE already has their PLEs distributed internationally through Netflix.
What are PLEs? What's that?
Because they're not actually the WWE, like WrestleMania and stuff, are not actually quote unquote pay-per-views. They call them PLEs, which are premium live events.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah. Maybe. I wonder if I truly am like, the new ESPN thing is kind of weird to me. I don't understand it. The ESPN Select, like they're going to bundle like all of their packages into like one streaming service for $30 a month beginning of next year. So
wait,
I don't know.
How many ESPN packages are there? I only have ESPN Plus. What else is there?
There's ESPN. More? Well, the TV networks, they're going to like package up as like, hey, if you don't want, if you're a sports fan, Hulu, you just want ESPN. Yeah. If you just want ESPN, but don't want any of the other crappy stations, for $30 a month, you can get ESPN, ESPN2, news, all the networks for $30 a month.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't know. Maybe.
I guess
I don't know if like, I don't know. I hope the UFC getting rid of the pay-per-view model would be pretty awesome, but I just don't see a world where that happens. Even though they do not need it at all, and at the current rate of like what pay-per-view is for the UFC, it is like the least of their worries, as you can see with a lot of the pay-per-view fight cards they have booked. It's all about, because they're getting, if UFC 315 sold 2 pay-per-views, they still would have made tens of millions of dollars on Saturday because of the distribution deal that they have with ESPN. ESPN pays them for all those broadcasts, plus the big ass gate that they just did in Montreal. They get all that money too. Like, it's nothing to them if they don't sell any pay-per-views.
Who is it something to then?
ESPN.
So it's up to the broadcaster to put like serious pressure on the UFC for those pay-per-views, I would guess. And
yeah, because they're already paying for them, so they would like to get
their money back. Yeah, their investment
to some extent.
Yeah, I guess the big question coming into the broadcast deal is, I think we all assume it's going to be, for the first time, spread now over multiple broadcast networks, not just ESPN, not just Fox like it was previously. And is the pay-per-view thing going to go away? So I guess those are the two big ones.
Is there going to be less cards? Is there going to be more cards?
Ooh.
I don't know.
Do you think less cards? I highly doubt that. Content's king right now. So.
Yeah, but they could do ancillary programming to make up for it pretty easily.
Yeah. I think we talked about this before, but I wouldn't mind more like.
They just extended the Contender Series all year, or like added 3 months to it.
Or not even Contender Series, just five fight UFC cards or something. Like quick.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't know what you call that, but I'm trying to say, just like 2 hours of fighting, not like a whole. Those seem Apex worthy, like just 2 hours. It's a 2 hour time slot, maybe 2.5 hours, not like a whole evening, just on a Tuesday night, Wednesday night. Just. Yeah.
Yeah, like this
That'd be cool.
card, this card on this card on Saturday would be like a perfect like Wednesday night.
Thursday night football. Thursday night football card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just Thursday nights at the Apex. If it's just these fight, Gilbert Burns, Michael Morales, like a perfect main event for that kind of a fight.
Yeah.
Paul Craig hit Alpha Bellato, Sadiq Yusuf, Myron Santos, Rudzabaya versus Stoltzfus, Arosa Costa. Like that's your 5-fight card. That's pretty good. That's solid for a Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Michael Harris. All right. What else we got here? Masters of the Universe.
What are your feelings on the BMF title with Dustin and Max? I like the belt. It's a fun little title to have, but if Dustin wins, would you like to see him retire the belt too? What do you think?
No, belt would not be retired. It works. There's just too many things the UFC can do if that belt won't be retired. What are your feelings? Yeah, it's a good fight.
They should have retired it with Masvidal. Like that was the whole thing.
Yeah, that was the whole
that
point.
made the
Yeah.
fight special. One time only. The winner of this fight will be the BMF forever and ever and ever. And then they're like, "Hey, shit, we are running out of options. We're going to Salt Lake City, and they're paying us millions and millions of dollars, and we have no fights for them. So we have to bring back the BMF belt." And they did. But you can just create belts. Like none of this matters.
It's not real. There's no rule book. There's no official guidelines for any of this. Like boxing has guidelines and regulations for their titles. UFC, they're all just employee of the month awards. It doesn't really like John can be champion forever. The UFC never has to never has to strip him. They don't. There's nothing. There's no rules. It's just we just do. They would do what they want.
I mean, look, you could keep the MF forever. There's 25 other letters of the alphabet. You can do the AMF title, the awesome MF title. You can do B for something else. It doesn't have to be baddest. It could be best. The best motherfucker title. The C, the coolest motherfucker title. Like we could go all the way down the list. You could create 25 more titles.
I want to see the coolest motherfucker title. Who's in your first title fight for the coolest motherfucker? Who is it?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Ilia's pretty cool, man. Like Ilia's like, all right, this guy fucking rules. Like
he's the
be
legend.
Cool to have a night out with. He was the legend for a very short time.
We're not gonna talk about that. That's just
yeah. There's a lot. Brandon Moreno is pretty damn cool. Wonder Boy's pretty damn cool. There's lots of cool fighters, but yeah, we go all the way through the list, man. The eager motherfucker title. Like who's eager enough to step up to the plate. Like the good motherfucker. Like we can go all the way down. Just think of all the belts we can create. So many.
All right. Thank you, Mike. I know you got my mind going now when you say, "Oh yeah, we can do that." Here we go. All right. Lazy Bed.
Sergio Pettis was Rafian Satz added to PFL in Chicago June 27th. Did PFL manage to do a thing here? Love that fight. It's a great fight. They did a good job. There's a storyline with these two dudes. It's a good fight.
Are they still training partners, or do they?
No. Stotts is at Extreme Couture now. Or at least he has been for a while.
Oh, okay. He did. Oh,
they're still buds, I think.
Okay.
They both still know each other, so yeah. Cool. I like it.
Fabian. Okay. Oh, and Romanov's on that card. Hell yeah, Romanov and Moldavsky. That card kind of rules. Yeah.
Fabian Edwards in the main event against Josh Silveira, Phil Davis, Sullivan Cauley, Aaron Jeffrey versus Dalton Rasta, Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Simeon Powell, Moldavsky Romanov is interesting, Popov versus Nascimento.
You know what?
Rodrigo Nascimento, Jesus Christ, man. Dude was headlining UFC cards and breaking gate records a year ago. And now look at him. Biagio Ali Walsh versus Ronnie Gibbs. Is that a pro fight? I'm really sure. Yeah, I like it.
It's my go with me for a moment here, but is Phil Davis at 40 years old, soon to be 41? Is he the male equivalent to Liz Carmouche? In terms of like, Liz Carmouche is still top 10, top 15 flyweight, and she has been for many, 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 many years now, for like over a decade. I feel the same, but Liz Carmouche has almost zero highlights in this sense. Phil Davis is kind of the same way to me. He's always been a top 10, top 15 light heavyweight, and he still actually is. He's just not very exciting. I get that.
Except for his last fight.
Except for his last fight. Yeah, that's what I mean. Every once in a while.
Same with Carmouche. She had like one of the best submissions of the year last year. Yeah. So maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just the similarities are there. Good shout, yeah.
Good shout.
But they both.
Colleagues could be interesting.
Yeah. And like those are two fighters I think are just extremely talented, but I totally get as far as entertainment. Yeah. All right. But as far as mixed martial arts and technique, just amazing fighters and just using their skill set to win fights. So that's all. Just want to throw that out there. Thank you, Lazy Bed.
I gotta take a few more. We got like around 10 minutes left here. Aussie wrestling greater than American wrestling. Okay.
You see what that Craig Jones has been saying? It's about he's been kind of going off about that.
Oh, I saw him like shit on DC a little bit.
Yeah, DC.
He's talking to our good pal Alex Wendling, if memory serves me correct.
I only saw clips. I didn't see the whole interview, but I saw like she put out clips and stuff. Great interview. And Craig Jones, I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but no, he's making points though. He's like, I
think his whole thing is like, look, there's other avenues. I saw some very smart people be like, hey, if you're sitting there saying Belal not wrestling enough.
He wrestled. Oh, sorry.
It was not a great strategy. Then you're being disrespectful. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. That is like a ridiculous comment to say. You could both be right about this. Belal, first of all, Belal was very competitive in the fight without wrestling, and he tried. He definitely tried and got some takedowns. I'm just stunned he didn't do it early. Like, he didn't give JDM anything to think about. He gave the first 3 rounds, in my opinion, to Jack by not wrestling. You know what I mean? Or by not doing what Belal does. And yes, the pressure was there and he was moving forward and doing a bunch of stuff, but like Belal going in there and shooting takedowns and like wearing on JDM and trying to like chip away at his confidence a little bit. Like that was the strategy. Like that's how you beat a guy like that. That's what Gilbert Burns did. Like Gilbert Burns got success early. And yes, Gilbert Burns ended up losing that fight because
of wrestling. But Gilbert lost that fight because of wrestling. He got caught shooting in. And that's why I was I get the kind of argument for Belal, like you should have wrestled more, but like wrestling when your opponent's ready for it is obviously much tougher. Like, but Jack can really punish you if you do not take the proper shot in. Like he will punish you bad, as Gilbert Burns found out. So I think it was just one fight.
Gilbert was like a minute away from winning, and he got tired, and JDM got back to his feet because he had nothing left, and then Jack killed him. Hit him with that elbow and smoked him because he was dead.
I thought Gilbert. I thought they got up. They both got up. Gilbert shot in. Then Jake hit.
I don't think so. I think JDM just landed a knee, or I think JDM landed like a big knee or something. Yeah, maybe because he got like real sloppy.
But Gilbert was shooting in because he was tired. He's like, I gotta take this guy down. Either way, whatever.
It was just regardless.
Yeah, regardless.
JDM's confidence built throughout that fight. Mm-hmm. You could see it, especially in the rewatch. That's like one thing that I picked up immediately on my rewatch. Was just like JDM is feeling himself as this fight goes on, because there's like a moment in the first round where JDM is just like, we're doing this? Like, you're going to give me this fight? Cool. I love this. And you can see it at the end of the first round. He just like gingerly strolls to his corner, like, okay, I'm up 1. And then happens in round 2. He's up 2. By the way, biggest takeaway from this rewatch, and I mean this with all due respect to Belal Muhammad and his fans, if you scored that fight for Belal Muhammad, you are so dead wrong. Like, it's a bad scorecard. It's a very bad card. 50-45 JDM is much more acceptable than 48-47 Belal. Rewatch, I lean more. I think I leaned more 50-45 in the rewatch, but I stuck with 49-46. So something to keep in mind. Belal was fun. He was competitive. Great performance. Terrific fight. But there's definitely a case that he lost all 5 rounds, even though they were really close and competitive, except for the fifth. Fifth round was the clearest round of the fight.
See, that's the thing. I agree Jack won the fight, but I know I'll get crap for this. I think off the first 4 rounds, I think I wouldn't have gone crazy if one of those judges gave any of those rounds to Belal, because there wasn't like, to me, a significant moment in any of those rounds. But the 5th round was without a doubt the most dominant round. And I think the most interesting part of the fight was, coming into this, Jack had never fought 5 rounds. He has trained for 5 rounds in his previous fights before coming to the UFC. In the UFC, he had never fought 5 rounds or trained for 5 rounds. And the fact that it was Belal that wound up losing the 5th round, and he kind of, I don't want to say ran out of gas, but it was Della. JDM was the stronger fighter when they were both exhausted. And I don't think anyone was really predicting that. Like, if it came down to the 5th round, like, it was going to be Jack's fight. I think that was shocking. And that's why he's a champ.
The rewatch is going to open your eyes a lot. It's going to open your eyes a lot. JDM was hammering Belal in that fight. Like, absolutely hammering him. And Belal's chin took a ton of punishment in that fight. But, I mean, we talked about it on the watch party watching it live. Like, every time JDM hit Belal, you could see it. But when you just focus on the shots that are landing, you're just like, damn. Like, he was lighting Belal up with heavy shots. Yeah. Almost the entire fight. Like, every shot he landed was clean and it was nasty. Yeah. And Belal is so effing tough, man. Like, I give that guy...
He does not get enough credit.
So much credit.
Yeah. I think... because everyone's like, oh, Belal is boring. But, like, dude, Belal is freaking tough. He
gave you the fight you wanted.
He gave the fight you wanted.
He gave you the fight you wanted. Yeah. Which I respect the hell out.
Yeah. I hope that storyline is done, that Belal is a boring fighter, blah, blah, blah. You know, he doesn't finish fights. I don't care. He is an exciting fighter. He's a tough fighter. He is a fighter. He fights in there. So I hope we're done with that storyline at least. Yeah. You know, even though he's not champ.
He's going to go fight Kamaru Usman. It's going to be fun.
Yep.
Win or lose against Buckley. He's going to fight Kamaru Usman next.
All right, take a couple more questions. Let's see if we got anything else. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, you're the best. Mike, is it time now more than ever for another Don Davis town hall? I would love that.
It's always time for a town hall. It's always.
The invitation is there. Anytime he wants to do it, we can do it. Look, there are conversations that are sort of had behind the scenes with myself and higher in PFL brass that sort of happen behind the scenes. I'm not gonna give you like all the specifics of everything, but there's a part of them that feel like that they are not being covered fairly by the vast majority of MMA media. And I just don't think that's true at all. It's just not true. We call it how we see it. And I think that's how all of this should be. When you do bad things, we're going to tell you that you've done bad things. When you've done good things, we will say that you've done good things. I think like part of them feels like, hey, we're doing all this stuff, but then we're growing the sport in other parts of the world and giving fighters more opportunities to make money. And yes, we've talked about all of these things. Like that's good. That is good. But you have not yet walked back the whole co-leader thing, and that we're scaring the UFC and that fighters run from our organization in order to go to the UFC. Like, all of that is ridiculous. And unfortunately, that is the underwear stain in all of this. You can try to scrub it out, but it's still there. And that's the problem with PFL right now is we don't forget the co-leader thing. We don't forget, hey, we bought Bellator and now we're coming. Like the UFC, we're right on their heels. When all of us have been saying from Jump Street, no, you're not. You're nowhere near them. You have to stop acting that way. And unfortunately, it took all this time, and it took Dana ethering Don Davis at a press conference after one of these town halls for them to realize, like, we need to stop poking the bear a little bit. And when they do stop poking the bear, it's a good thing. And then occasionally Don will be like, I gotta do it. I gotta hit send on this tweet. And we're just like, oh no, Don. Why are you doing this? Focus on the positives. Focus on the good stuff. I just don't.
You notice how Scott Coker in all his years never said anything dumb like that?
No, Scott was always like,
the
only controversial thing Scott Coker ever said was, look, man, we have the case to have the best fighter in the world in 4 divisions. That's the most controversial thing Scott Coker has ever said at a press conference when it comes to comparing himself to the UFC. And guess what? At that time, they did have an argument with Corey Anderson and Patchy and Eblin and others. Patchy. Like they had a case.
Okay. And it was a fun conversation. It was a fun conversation. And he didn't go like, we definitely have without a doubt, blah, blah. He was just like, hey, man, our guys are really good. I'm just saying we got a case, you know? And that's all.
It's just like, hey, if we did an event with like their champions versus ours,
I'm confident.
I think we do okay. I think we do okay. That's why people love that. They love Scott understood the sport. He gets it. He knew the right ups and the wrong. He knows how it works. He knows what fans respond to. And Scott wasn't like the most brilliant guy. Like Scott had faults and he knew it. Like he wasn't going to sit there and like do his research on the 1-0 New England fighter who fought in the opening prelim at Mohegan Sun. Like he's not going to sit there and answer questions about that. But like, dude knew ball. That's why he ran successful organizations for the most part, or at least like fighters enjoyed working for him. So I guess you wanted to find success in that aspect. And he didn't say anything that turned fans off. So listen, Don knows all he's got to do is hit me up and we could do it. But, and I always tell every conversation I have with Don, I tell him the same thing. We're rooting for you. We want you to do well. We're hoping that this is like a turnaround for you guys. I think they're having PR wise, not the best year, but in terms of like the fight cards and stuff, it's great. The world tournament things have been fantastic, but not airing the Paul Hughes fight live in the United States is an absolute disgrace. It's a travesty. And I know it's led to Don saying, hey, June 1st, big announcement. You're going to see all these international cards. And look, we don't want to see all the international cards. We want to see the Paul Hughes fight. You know what I mean? Like Paul's one of your biggest stars. Of course we want to see him fight. Like if Dakota Ditchev is fighting in another part of the world, like we want to see her fight. Like if you're doing another PFL Europe show, like we want to see her fight. We don't need to see PFL Mina every single time. We don't need to see that, but like the big ones we should be able to watch. So there are things they need to do better with 100%.
All right.
Anything else?
Two more questions before we get out of here. One last super chat.
Terrence, Sandhagen versus Mix would be the greatest fight. Who wins? Sandhagen wins.
I would freaking love that fight, but I don't want to see it now. I want to see Mix get a win first against a top 15 guy, then maybe the Sandhagen fight. But but of course, I want to see that fight. I mean, I would pick Sandhagen right now because Sandhagen's just my favorite guy ever. But I love Patchy Mix, so I wouldn't be shocked either way. But thank you, Terrence Everett. And our last question from longtime listener, first-time commenter, not really, Joseph Boza.
Is JDM the most unlikely UFC champion ever? He went from beating Gilbert Burns to getting a title shot due to Shafkat not being ready. First time fighting 5 rounds. No, Matt Serra is the most unlikely UFC champion ever, and there will never be anybody that defeats him in that conversation. Sorry,
don't make it so not quite that extreme. But is he is he one of the on that end unlikely champions? Like,
no,
I don't know. When I was going through all our shows and stuff, not one point could I ever find any of us saying after Jack Della Maddalena win, we're going like, this guy could win the title. We always said he was good, but like it was I don't think but we said the same thing about Belal too. I think Belal actually might be even a more unlikely champion, to be honest, than JDM. But like it's interesting watching our shows and stuff. Like we all kind of we were like, man, he's good. He's gonna be around for. It was like he was gonna be around for a while. We know I could see him being top 5 fighters. Like, and but definitely not most unlikely ever. That's too far an extreme. But I would say he's one of the more unlikely fighters. Maybe I'm wrong.
I remember, like Shaheen and I were always like really high on JDM, and there were like certain timeline quotes where like I would tee up Shaheen and he would talk glowingly about Jack. A couple things hurt Jack in these conversations. One, he wasn't the most active guy in the world. Two, the Basil Hafez fight was real bad, and a lot of people thought he lost that fight.
Split decision against Holland.
The Kevin Holland fight, there were a lot of people who thought he lost that fight to Kevin Holland. And that was just like, okay, we'll see how he bounces back. And then he was losing the Gilbert Burns fight, like losing. And then until he wasn't in the final seconds of that fight. So,
I mean, those are 3 fights in a row that I know he got the W, but in a slightly different world, he takes an L in one of those fights at least. And
then the long layoff. But again, like, in today's UFC, and this has been like my credo for the last like 2 years, rankings don't mean shit. Wins and losses mean very little. They mean something to at least get you in the conversation. But your biggest friend in the world is your ability to pick up a phone and say, yes, I'm available for that date. That is more important than anything else as a top level fighter right now. If you're available and that phone rings, you need to say yes. And if you do, you will get your chance. If you don't, your road just got way longer. And JDM said yes while he was getting ready to fight Leon Edwards. And the rest is history, man. So, no, I don't think he's the most unlikely UFC champion ever.
Yeah. But I'm just saying it is interesting. 2 split decisions against people a champion should dominate. And then, a comeback last-minute win over, a very good fighter, Gilbert Burns. It's very interesting. But I did say this coming into that fight with Belal, being out for a year. The JDM that beat Gilbert Burns loses to Belal Muhammad. But of a year of training, a year healthy in the gym, JDM is at that perfect age where he's hitting his athletic prime. He is getting better. He has an amazing camp around him. And this version of JDM can beat Belal Muhammad, and it did. He is the champion version we see now is the best version that we've seen of him in the UFC. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah,
and people
tough out, man. That fight with Islam, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and people forget about Belal. Belal's 37. How old is he?
Yeah, he's 36, I believe.
Okay, so he's 30. He's 36, turns 37 in a month and a half. So
yeah,
and he
very
has
37.
Yeah, he has almost 30 professional fights, many rounds. Belal's just not at his athletic prime anymore, and that's unfortunate. That's actually why
he's
biggest
a freak,
reason.
man.
He's
a freak athlete. Like, he's just absolutely a freak.
And it sucks because he's so kind of dorky with his trash talk. We kind of forget that he is such a good athlete. Because I hate his trash talk. I hate his trash talk so much. You don't need.
Dude is the hardest worker in the room. Anybody who's ever trained with him is just like, holy shit, dude! Like this guy. I did a submission radio show with it was me and Benil Dariush were the guests, and Benil was telling stories about like training with Belal and just being like, what the fuck, this guy like just doesn't stop. I don't understand like his fight IQ, all that stuff. My biggest question about Belal Muhammad moving forward is not who he's going to fight next, because the UFC is very smart. This JDM thing kind of hurts Kamaru Usman. Like, even if Usman beats Joaquin Buckley, he ain't getting a title shot now that Islam's in play. Oh, yeah. And there's Gary and all. There's just too many names at this point. But Usman's going to fight Belal Muhammad next. Yeah, Usman's going to fight Belal Muhammad next. Like, if he wins or loses against Joaquin Buckley, as long as he doesn't retire, he's fighting Belal next. And that is a big fight.
I like that fight.
That'll be a big one.
Makes sense already. Yeah, win or lose.
Story. We're going to see the podcast thing drop. Like, the UFC will demand it. It'll be a part of the whole packaging of the fight. My biggest question of all will be, what is Belal's chin going to look like after the Shady M fight? Because he wore a lot. He took a lot. And even in the 5th round, he got hurt real bad. It was able to survive. But man, he took so many big punches in this fight. Like, you'll see in the rewatch, you're just like, damn, he got lit up with heavy shots. And at 36, by the next time he fights, he'll be 37 after taking that much of a beating. And you saw the damage, the nose, the orbital, the lip, the hole in his face, like all of that. How will he bounce back from that? Because Usman's not a spring chicken either, but the dude can hit real hard.
I hope we see that fight. I hope we see that fight.
We have to.
I want to see it.
Everyone's nuts if we don't get that fight. Like, there's no reason to not get it. So, anything else? Are we good?
We are good, sir.
Yeah, you're gonna be a busy man, so I gotta let you go. We gotta get some things to work on. So, I appreciate you guys joining us. What a week it has been, and don't worry, even though we really didn't get much about it. UFC Vegas 107 coming up. 106. I'm sorry. Coming up on Saturday.
Don't get me excited.
Tough scenes. Not the best card. I do like the Gilbert Burns Michael Morales main event, so that should be fun. And it's a decent start time. So we'll be back next week to talk about that and much more right here on Between the Links. For Casey, I am Mike Heck, the iconic voice special one takes you home. Good night, everybody.
This has been Between the Links, an MMA fighting production on the Vox Media Network.